use this so-called business crime, fraud, or even some even accused of so-called engaging the subversion of state power. One of my pastor friends, Pastor Wang Yi, was sentenced to 9 years imprisonment for preaching the sermon of John 3:16 on the pulpit, calling the Chinese President Xi Jinping to repent.
Wow.
That's called subversion of state power.
Wow.
And
Wow.
his wife was missing for 2 years, and their son was being also separated, and so many members were tortured until today. So Pastor Wang is still in prison today for 9 years imprisonment.
Wow. You were just telling me right before that, just this week, a number of pastors have been arrested on
called a crime of fraud. And China 8, we documented this, a lot of cases. Just this week, one online evangelist, along with his wife and 5 of his co-workers, pastors, they're preachers basically online. The pastor was sentenced to 14 years imprisonment.
Wait, hold on.
14.
Wait, this is an evangelist, just in case you miss this. This is an evangelist who was preaching, does not have a church.
That's right.
Doesn't have a
physical church.
He's online sharing the gospel.
Yes.
And he gets arrested and he's now sentenced to
14
years. What is his crime?
Crime of business fraud. Because some people watch his sermon and using the online donation, and that's called fraud. So he received 14 years. His wife received 5 years. Other 5 church leaders received from 3 to 10 years imprisonment, respectively.
Wow.
So you're talking about, even Hong Kong Christians.
Right.
For we just learned 7 Hong Kong church members were arrested in China for sponsoring the printing of Sunday school materials for children. So that's happening in mainland China.
What are some of the other trends that you see? You call this sort of a new era of persecution. What are some of the other trends that you see emerging in China as it relates to the persecution of Christians?
So in summary, China has entered into the time with the worst persecution we have not seen in 40 years. Since the Cultural Revolution of Chairman Mao.
You're saying this is the worst since Mao?
Since Mao, yes.
Wow.
The worst time.
Wow.
Basically, the persecution is across the board. Not only the independent, unregistered house churches that used to be targeted, in the past 2 decades or so, primarily. Now, even the government-sanctioned church. If you are a pastor of a government-sanctioned church, if you don't pledge the absolute allegiance to Chairman Communist Party leader Xi Jinping's thoughts, and if you don't install a Communist Party flag, or even put Chairman Xi Jinping's picture
in the church,
on the pulpit,
in the church,
yes,
behind the pulpit,
yes. And if you don't sing the Communist national anthem before you
start service,
you start service, then that's called non-compatible with the socialism and communism.
Wow.
So the church pastor will be ransomed.
Wow.
Some were even arrested.
In case you are joining me, my name is George Thomas. This is a very good friend of ours for CBN News, Bob